Hey folks, today we're going to delve back into the Hellboy the board game. We're going to take a look at the Bprd Archives set. This is a custom deck where you can make your own scenarios. We're going to try that out right after this. Hey YouTube, this is Tech, and something that's really important, especially if you get a really big version of a retail game, is that it has some replayability. Now, one of the things that comes with, especially if you got the core box, it comes with kind of a small amount of case files, and those are the scenarios in which you play the game. And the thing that's kind of enduring about them is they're a surprise. So when you play a scenario from the Kickstarter version or the base game, you're going to get a little pack, a sealed pack that you'll undo. Of course, I played this one already. And you'll lay them down one at a time and reveal them. And what's great is it makes this all a surprise. You'll read a little synopsis about what's going on. You'll flip it over. It'll tell you how to build the deck of cards for that particular game. It'll tell you how the map is supposed to go. But what if you could have a greatly expanded variety of different surprise scenarios based around all the different characters that you get in either this box or the core box and expansions that you get? That's where the Bprd Archives come in. So if you got the Kickstarter version of this game, it already comes with a Bprd Archives deck. If you didn't know, they're about to release this as another expansion, which is why I decided to go ahead and make this video. This deck provides a very large variety of alternate games. It allows you to still be sort of surprised. Like, I think if you played this a whole lot, you'd eventually be like, oh, there's that card. But at least for a long, long time, you'll have a lot of different varieties of different types of scenarios you can still be surprised about. And you'll never know exactly what you're going to face. If you do it right, you'll never know exactly what you're going to face in there. Or if you wanted to fight a particular baddie or a particular group of minions, maybe to practice or just to see what they're like because they never come up randomly, you could go through here and just make one yourself, make your own scenario. It's really pretty fast and easy to do. Let's go on over to the table and I'll show you how it's done. Note that other expansions that you might get for Hellboy, indicated by this little icon at the top, may have their own case files. So what you can do is pull these out and integrate them into your basic case file set. So as you get expansions for Hellboy, and you'll note that the expansions are noted by this little icon here at the top, you're going to get more and more case files to use also. And what you do is you just pull these out of the package and you integrate them into your stack. All those different icons and stuff at the bottom that you'll see when we pull these out, those will all integrate into the basic pack, and that will allow you to use all the different enemies that you have at your disposal. If you got the big Kickstarter box set, these are separated at first. You'll have to go ahead and integrate them in if you want to use all the models in your box set. Otherwise, those things are just going to sit there because you're really going to have to add these if you want to play with those other models. And this is the way to get to them, is through one of these archive decks that you make yourself. Now, integrating one of these expansions into your deck is super simple. As you see at the bottom, there are icons that tell you which of these stacks that these go in. So, and I don't think it's a big spoiler even to kind of look at them now. So we got one of these. It looks like all the rest of this one are these Confrontations. A lot of different options for Confrontation now. And this initial case file construction card, that just kind of gets tossed. So let's open this this is the Conqueror Worm expansion. And it has some other options here right off the bat for the environment. And another one for the threat. That in there. Looks like we got another short, medium, long. And that's it. You're fully integrated and ready to make your own custom deck. Alright, so here we have the Bprd Archives deck. And this is the deck that came with the Kickstarter extras. I'm fairly certain that this will be the same one that you'll get when they release this commercially here a little bit. And the first thing you want to do is you'll notice that a number of these cards have icons on the front. And if you look down at the bottom, you can see what they are. You want to refer to the bottom of this as much as possible, because that keeps it from kind of spoiling you. As far as, and the red ones aren't as big a deal. Like, so I've got all the red ones out, and you see another icon. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the stack, and we're going to separate them out, putting the ones with an icon up on top, and then put them out across the board here. Now, as you can see, there are a number of elements that make up even the smallest of one of these adventures. And it's not as complicated as it might seem at first. All of these are numbered at the top, and it's important that the cards are drawn in this order. So if you're going to make a selection from here, you start from here first and work your way over. So let's take a look at the first stack. So element 1 is the environment. Each one of these elements that you pick up is going to give you instructions on the bottom here. Basically, this is the length of the game, and this is one that you can pull apart without spoiling it too much. Basically, you lift these off and you pick the length of the game, and of course you have different options. So there's going to be different games here. Like there's 2 different shorts, some mediums, long, short, medium, and long. Because I'm going to be making a video of this, and I don't want it to drag on too much for a playthrough, I'm going to pick a short one. So I'm just going to pick this short one here. And I'm going to lay it down over here. Putting these cards back. So there's no spoilers on this card. Some of them are kind of full of spoilers, but there's none on this card. If you flip it over the other way, there's a quick peek. If you flip it over the other way, you'll get a little bit of a minor spoiler of the map setup and stuff like that, but it's still not going to tell you who your bad guy is, what the twists are and everything. That's still to come. So this is the most unspoilery of the cards. It's going to go on top, and what you're going to do is you're going to set it down, and as we pull other cards, they're going to get tucked underneath. And you're going to, on some of these, you got to do your best just not to look at the at what's tucked underneath. This could easily be done by kind of randomly picking one and throwing it under the table. You know, or kind of put your cards under the table and randomly pick one and just stick it under here and bring it back. There's one way to do it. Okay, so the next element we're going to pick up is the investigation, and this basically decides how challenging it's going to be. And again, much like the first one, we can look at the front of these cards. They tell you a little bit of things, but mainly what you want to see is right here, the challenge rating. And you got medium, low, and high. So I'm going to go for medium. We'll take this out. And it will be tucked under here. Okay, so the next element is the threats. Now these are the types of minions that you're going to have. Now, basically, in the basic box set for this, you're going to have one that's like witches and bats, and one that's frogs. And you've got another one called Abnormal Threat. And it warns you on here, and the Abnormal Threat is going to be sort of a mix of the different ones. So it warns you on here that you can take that out, but you want to try and pick one of these at random. And so I'm going to close my eyes and just kind of like shuffle these. Not looking, not looking, not looking, not looking. And I actually did not read very closely which one was which. I'm going to pick one of these. I'll stick it underneath here. And the other one, it's going back. Okay. So one of these will be our minions. And we just move along here. This element is the objectives. And here are the instructions for that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this here. I'm not looking. I'm supposed to shuffle these and pick an objective and then place it on the bottom. I'll place it on the bottom here, not looking at it, not looking, not looking, not looking. And put these back. And then we've got this element, which is the twist. Now the normal twist that you're going to play depends on the length of the game. And if you remember, we picked a short game, so there's going to be one twist out of here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach in, randomly pull one out without looking at it very much. I'm going to stick it underneath the cards. We're almost done. What we have here, this element is the Showdown. Now this one's a little different, and this is how they tie in the big bads at the end of the game with the minions and other stuff that you have going on. So what you do is you look down the lower corner for this this icon, and there's going to be a number next to it. So let's do that. All right. We have a number 2. And then we look at the bottom corner of these, and you'll see we have a number 2 here. So this is going to be our Showdown. So without looking, I'll pull that out, stick it underneath. And the last element, here is the Confrontation. And the way this one works is we're going to shuffle these without looking at them. Not looking, not looking, not looking. And we're going to put the card back on top, pull one out of the bottom without looking at it. No spoilers. And we're going to stick it right on the bottom of our case file deck. And that's it. We have a custom case file, a short game based entirely on chance. Or mostly on chance. I mean, we chose a few things. Like we chose the length and the difficulty, basically, and everything else is left up to chance. This is really easy to put back to. As you can see, without spoiling anything, I can show you these bottom icons. You just basically put these back in their respective piles, and it's reset for the next time. This is super quick, kind of a lunch break thing. You can sit and figure out what to make yourself a nice little short scenario, a custom one, especially if you've already gone through all the archives or the pre-made ones that come with the game. And if you've got the Kickstarter version, this is the only way to really use all those extra characters that you've got. They're all baked into these things. So go ahead and try them out. Don't be scared of them. It's really easy to do. I've done like 3 of these so far, and they're actually a lot of fun and very interesting how cleverly this all works out. It's really pretty neat. So tune in next time when we play this little short Hellboy scenario and see how we do. It'd be interesting to see what enemies we're facing in there. Ooh. All right, so that's it. I've got a little custom scenario that I can play at a later time. I probably will set this up in the next day or so, maybe over the weekend, and play this out, and I'll film it for you guys, and you can see what it was like. Although the Hellboy game isn't perfect, it obviously has some flaws. I played some games that were completely unwinnable, and I played a few games that almost seemed too easy. There's a fair amount of luck and mitigation in there too, but I keep going back to it because frankly it's a lot of fun. My wife and kid think so too, and whipping out these custom scenarios has been great for kind of playing with the entirety of the content of the box. Anything in this box could potentially show up inside of this deck, and as I add expansions to it, like I've got Hellboy in Mexico and Darkness Calls, I think is another one. As I add those other components in here, then I have a chance of like encountering any of these things, even if I haven't played through their core scenarios yet. So that makes it a really exciting way to add some replayability to your Hellboy game. That's all I got for you now, but I'll be back real soon with some more videos. Stay safe and have fun. I'll talk to you soon. You'll literally flip through. Oh, I got hairs everywhere. I'm surprised you read a little synopsis. So if you got the Kickstarter version of this game, it already came with the BRPD, that's where the